Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna create this kind of mouse hover, which is we have some buttons shaped like a container. When we have mouse hovers on them, the shape changes, the color changes, the text changes. We can change whatever we want. Before we get started, please hit subscribe for more videos because it's a support for me and I'm gonna continue making videos and more for you guys. And let's get into it. So let's get started. So first I created this stateful widget, which is another file. And here in my main method, I just called him as my body of the scaffold. Of course, inside my material. So first of everything, we need a container. So let's create this container. Let's specify the width only. So let's say the width is 500. For height, let's say 600. We need some decoration like colors, box decoration. We need some border radius, dot circular, and some colors, dot white. Okay, it's cool. You may not see this because I have a gray background for my scaffold. Just add it, you'll see it. Then I need some shadow. Border radius 12, separate radius 5, and color gray. I use gray 400. Now we see this nice shadow and it's cool. Now let's create buttons. We're gonna make the methods here. So we need a child here. Let's call this child buttons UI. Now we have a method for buttons. I need to return a column. So I place my buttons in a column. For children's, I'm just gonna generate a list for my buttons. You can do it whatever you want, but I'm just gonna generate a list. So I'm gonna say list dot generate. For now, I'm gonna only need 6 buttons in this bracket. Let's return something else. Now here we need to return a button. I'm gonna turn my button into a new widget. Here we're gonna use a stateful widget. I'm gonna call this button, let's say hover, and let's import material.dart. Okay, here we have a container. So I'm gonna just call this button here, button hover. Here, so we can just add like tiles and other stuff here. So I'm gonna just add some data. So here we need the index, so it's integer, and also a title. And I'm gonna create a constructor. These two data need to be final, so sorry. Now I'm gonna do the same for the statement class. Now we have both title and index in our build method. We can use them now. Okay, first we need a mouse region in order to detect mouse on our widgets. So I'm gonna use a widget called mouse region. And we need a boolean in order to detect we are hovering or not. So I'm going to just create a boolean here. I'm going to call this bool and is hover. Let's say it's false by default. In the mouse region, I'm going to use 2 methods, on exit and on enter. On enter means that the mouse stays in your widget, and on exit it means it's no longer there. Let's set state and say is hover equals true, and the same for other one. And we're going to set the value to false when we exit. Now in our container, we need this to be an animated container, so we're going to change this one to animated container. It's animated container. We need a duration, milliseconds 200. So the width is just, let's say 500. But for the height, let's say we want this to be changed when we hover. So we're going to say is hover and question mark. Sorry, let's say 120, otherwise 85. If we go to Chrome now, we can't see any changes because we don't have any color. So let's create some random color. So we add the color here. Now if you refresh this, okay, now it's good. When we hover them, the size will change and it's just good. PowerPoint container is just way bigger, so to make this wrap this buttons, we just simply delete the height and change the center for single child scroll view and wrap the single child scroll view with a center widget. Now we get this, which is cool. Now let's add some border radius for them. Top one and the bottom one will need to have the curvy corners. To achieve that, we need to check if we are in first index or in last index. So we need to add a decoration and we need to add a border radius dot only. Now only for each one we need to check some values like. So we're gonna check for top right. We're gonna check to if we have hovered on it or the index is 0. Radius circular 16. Otherwise radius circular 0. And we do the same for all of them. And for bottom corners, we only check if the index is 6, since we have only 6 buttons. And here we need to pass the index. So index is I, and let's just give a random title. Now, as you can see, borders are rounded, but the colors are gone, so let's just add colors back. It's cool when we hover, they get rounded, but we have a problem here at the last one, which is we wrote 6 here. It's 0 basis, so it will be 5, not 6, from 0 to 5. For the background, I'm now gonna just delete the color. And let's add some shadow now. So if you have hover, we need some pink color for shadow, otherwise we don't need any. So it's kind of cool. Now let's change this buttons color for just white, which looks cool. Now let's add some content here, like a circular here and some text and an icon. To do this, I'm gonna create a method, call this add elements, return a row. The first children is a container, width is like 80, and height will based on the hover, so I'm gonna use the same hover of its parent, and we need some child. The child will be a center. In the center we have a container with a decoration, box decoration. In the decoration we need some color. We're going to use some animated container and need some duration, and we need some rounded border radius, fully rounded, and we need some width of, if we have hover, let's say it's 55, otherwise it's just 40, and we need the same for height. So let's just add it as a child. Make the size a little bit smaller. Let's use animated default text style, which just needs a child task text. We use index.toString, and also we need some duration since it's animated, and we need some style. In this style we specify the color. It's based on if we are hovering or not. If we are, so the color will be white, which is cool. Let's center this text, and let's change the size based on the hover. If we have mouse hover, then it will be bold. So it's just cool, and it's it. You can now add more and more functionality as whatever you want. Add text here or icons, leading icon here, however you want. You just get the ID, and it's it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoy it, and if you like it, please hit like. If you want more videos, please subscribe, and again, thanks for watching.